When I will be ready to start applying for jobs? That's a question that I've been asked frequently and that I also asked myself when I was studying programming. And it's a very hard question, especially for a self-taught programmer. The first thing I want to say is that you will never be 100% ready. And it's impossible to know everything, especially in fast developing world, especially in tech industry where there are lots of new technologies evolving, there are new languages appearing, new frameworks, new skills that you need to have for the entry-level job. For example, like 5-10 years ago, in order to be a junior web developer, the amount of things you need to be aware of was less than it is today, for example. Learning everything is impossible. You should forget about this idea to be always mastering, I need to read this article, I need to tackle this topic and this and that and that. No, it's impossible. And it's only you who decide when you are ready to get interviewed. But there are several techniques that how you can measure this readiness. The first is to have a look at the job positions in the field you applied for. For example, you study machine learning, so you open LinkedIn or any other website for job opportunities, and you see for junior developer what are the list of requirements for this and that positions, and you see the topics, and you should more or less be ready to say something about these topics at least. But it doesn't mean that you shouldn't apply for these positions if you don't know that, or if you don't know as you feel enough for this position. And the other way to be more confident in what you do is to have a roadmap. It can be either a roadmap planned by the course you are following, whether it's a boot camp or a higher education university. You can search on the internet. Recently, I found a website called roadmap.sh where they provide you with the list of topics you should be proficient about, you should know about, depending on the software engineering role, level, and language. But it also doesn't mean that you should dive deep into each topic, be professional in everything. Don't be so obsessed with it. Just use it as a guide to follow. And what is the exact time after starting learning programming you should start applying for an entry-level job? 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years? Well, I don't have the exact answer here because it all depends on your learning pace and your capabilities, the background you had. It depends on the time you spent in learning programming, 3 months of intensive learning, 8 hours per day, and 3 months of 1 hour per day is not the same thing, or learning for 2 weeks in a row every day and then having a lot of breaks. It's not the same thing. So the learning should be consistent. And I think you should also think about starting to apply for a job after a certain amount of consistency you had. That's what I actually did when I was studying programming. At some point I combined it with my other activities, but since month before starting applying for a job, probably I think less, maybe 3 months of real consistent learning gave me a lot of confidence in my skills, confidence in what I do, confidence in my knowledge, so that I told myself, I was ready to test. Consistency is actually the key point in achieving best results in software engineering career. But I know that it's very hard to study every day, right? Especially if you're a self-taught programmer. That's where Brilliant.org comes in, which is sponsoring this video. Brilliant.org is the best way to learn math and computer science interactively. Brilliant has thousands of lessons from math to AI, data science, neural networks, and more, with new lessons added monthly. So being consistent becomes actually easy with Brilliant. You can gradually master all topics in just as little as 50 minutes per day. But this 15 minutes will create a habit, a strong habit and consistency in your studying. And no excuses if you don't have your laptop with you, because with Brilliant you can study anytime and anywhere on your phone, tablet or computer. To try everything that Brilliant has to offer for 30 full days free, go to brilliant.org/codinggirl or just click on the link in the description. The first 200 of you will get 20% off Brilliant's annual premium subscription. Thank you, Brilliant, for sponsoring this video. Coming back to the time frame, when, after which period of time you should start applying for jobs. It also depends on the company. Like the amount of time preparing for your interview for like a small, medium-sized company and for like FANG, like Google-like companies is not the same. Even just like me with the 2 years of experience in software engineering, it will take a lot of time preparing for a position in a big company. And it's not just about the learning, it's just preparing for interviews. But I would say if you have any opportunity for being interviewed, whether you feel you're ready or not, just use it. Believe me, it will give you the idea where you're at and which things to improve, which happened to me when I didn't plan to go through interview process, but I had a friend who made a referral me for the Yandex. It's like Russian Google in Russia. And I wasn't ready. I kind of failed it, but it gave me the sense of what I need to learn, like the algorithms, obviously the things that I failed at. I haven't been preparing for them for solving algorithmic problems for a lot of time. I wasn't comfortable at C++, which I was using back then in my studies. So, long story short, try to apply as early as possible, but it also doesn't mean that you should start applying for jobs like since you learned how to print Hello World in the console. No, I'm don't exaggerate. You have to have a certain amount of skills to be confident enough to pass through the interview. Look at the interview questions, solve algorithms, and then, only then, start applying. And another thing to mention, I don't know which countries, where you're from and watching this video, and in different countries, different processes, but I know, for example, for Europe, for sure, before applying for a junior position, you should have internships in your portfolio. And I see that some people coming from other countries, they tend to apply for a junior position without having this experience in internship. Don't do that. Well, you can try at least, but it will be hard. Like, I mean, I have some people who message me and say that, oh, it's too frustrating in France because I don't have the high education. They don't consider my my CV, and I'm not even invited to the interview. And at the same time, there's people, they don't have any experience in software engineering, like experience, I mean, working for a real commercial project. I don't want to say that there aren't any exceptions, but the general rule is that yes, the recruiters, they don't consider your CV when you don't have internships, because during the school curriculum in France, and I know in Europe in general, the internship is obligatory. So without the internship, you're considered like of not having any experience, not a professional. So why should you be prioritized over other people? So if you are not invited to the interviews, consider first going through the internship. And also there are apprenticeship programs. I know in the United States you have apprenticeship programs for people who don't have higher education. In France it's a little bit different. It's a sort of a contract with your school, and that they pay for your higher education and pay some salary, but which is less as if you worked full-time. But it's very good opportunity to finance your studies. So apply for apprenticeships when it is relevant as well. That's it that I wanted to say on this topic. I hope it was useful for you. I know that I didn't give you the exact answer when you should apply for software engineering job, when you should be ready, when you are ready, when to know when you're ready. But I hope that you have at least a little bit more clarity on this topic and how to approach this topic. Let me know which questions you still have. And thank you very much for watching this video. See you in my other ones. Bye bye.
Bisous.